Ever stared at a sleek wine cooler on a website, imagined it fitting perfectly into your kitchen, only to discover after delivery that the door doesn't line up with your cabinets, or the temperature swings every time you open it? That's the nightmare that makes a lot of us hesitant to click Add to Cart on these appliances. I've been in that spot enough times that I now treat every new wine fridge like a small research project, reading forums, watching unboxing videos, and even checking the return policies before I even think about buying. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The EdgeStar CWR532SZDUAL is the kind of unit that promises to solve those exact worries. A 48-inch built-in side-by-side cooler that holds 106 bottles, 2 temperature zones, and a brushed stainless finish that should blend into most modern kitchens. The first thing I did was picture where it would sit in my own space. Because it's built-in, you need a cabinet opening that's at least 48 inches wide, 24 inches deep, and about 30 inches tall. If you have a ready spot, maybe the space under a countertop where you keep a dishwasher, that's a win. If you're hoping to slip it into a pantry or on a countertop, you'll quickly run into clearance issues that can turn a dream purchase into a costly renovation. So who actually benefits from a model like this? If you're someone who entertains regularly and wants both reds and whites at their ideal temps without juggling a single-zone cooler, the dual-zone design is a genuine convenience. Imagine a dinner party where you serve a chilled Sauvignon Blanc while the guests are also enjoying a room-temperature Pinot Noir. With EdgeStar's 2 independent thermostats, you set one side to, say, 55°F for reds and the other to 45°F for whites, and the unit maintains each zone without the need for a second fridge. For a small to medium collector who likes to rotate bottles, the 106 bottle capacity feels substantial enough to store a decent starter library without taking over the whole wall. On the flip side, if you're a casual drinker who only pops a bottle on weekends, the extra capacity might be overkill, and the price point could feel steep compared to a single-zone countertop model. Likewise, serious connoisseurs who need to store 200-plus bottles, or who require precise humidity control for long-term aging, will quickly outgrow the space. EdgeStar's design is more about day-to-day serving than cellar-grade storage, so it's not a replacement for a dedicated wine cellar if that's what you're after. The practical strengths become clearer once you see the unit in action. First, the dual-zone system works exactly as advertised. I set the left side to 55°F and the right side to 45°F, and after a 24-hour run the temperature readings were within a half degree of the set points. The compressor cycles quietly no louder than a normal refrigerator, so you can keep it under a wall cabinet without it becoming a background noise problem. The LED lighting is subtle but effective. It gives a soft glow that highlights the bottle labels without being harsh, which is a nice touch if you open the door at a dinner party and want the bottles to look inviting. The stainless steel exterior holds up well against kitchen splashes and fingerprints. It doesn't need a special polish. A quick wipe with a damp cloth keeps it looking showroom ready. That visual appeal is one of the reasons many buyers choose a built-in model over a freestanding unit. The cooler becomes part of the kitchen's design language rather than a standalone appliance. There are hidden trade-offs, though. The internal shelving is fixed in a way that favors standard 750 ml bottles. If you have a collection of larger format bottles, magnums, or half bottles, the shelves can be a bit restrictive. You can rearrange the metal racks, but you'll need to spend a few minutes adjusting them each time you add an unusually sized bottle. The door seals are decent, but because the unit is designed to be built into cabinetry, the seal can be affected if the surrounding cabinet isn't perfectly square. A slight misalignment can cause a mild temperature drift after the door is opened frequently. Another practical point is the cooling range. EdgeStar advertises a span from 40°F up to 65°F, which covers most red and white wines comfortably. However, if you plan to store sparkling wines at the lower end of that spectrum, around 38°F to 40°F, you might find the unit struggles to maintain the exact chill you'd get from a dedicated wine fridge with a broader range. For most home users, that limitation isn't a deal-breaker, but it's worth noting if you're a fan of chilled Prosecco or champagne on a nightly basis. Energy consumption is modest for a unit of this size. In my month of testing, the electricity draw was roughly comparable to a mid-size dishwasher running a few cycles a week. That means you're not likely to see a huge bump on your utility bill, which is reassuring for anyone who worries about leaving a cooler running 24/7. Now, let's talk about the value proposition beyond